Hello. This is Rosetta Nesbitt coming to you again with How I Found God, or How I Met God. And I left off the last story by telling you how I had a communication with God just before I might have taken my life or asked God to help me take my life, or to ask God to help me find my life, either one. And I did find my life with God. And so I'll start from where I ended with that story on part one of this little mini series of How I Met God. I actually, just before, I'm going to go back just a little bit, just before I had this encounter with God, I was homeless and I lived in a shelter. I had just gotten a divorce after 19 and a half years of marriage and over 23 years of relationship with this one person, and 4 children later. And I was already having complications, should I say, being normal, quote, what normal is in a normal world. I could not connect to the world. I could not find my space. I could not occupy that space that I owned. I really did own it. I had a hard time because of my youth. There was a lot of beatings and church and sexual abuse and sickness and so many other things going on in the closure of my house growing up that I name it the House of Fear. And it took very little to get a severe beating. I mean, like, you can probably leave a pot on the stove that needed to soak, that probably had a crust of burn in it from a dinner before, and, it needed to soak. Everything else was clean. And just to show you how drastically severe our beatings became over such minor situations, that we were wakened up at 12 midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning to get this kitchen clean. And I don't mean just one person, but all 8 of us. And we weren't just awakened, we were beaten out of our sleep to get in the kitchen and to clean it like we were told. And that's just a description to show you the trauma that I experienced. And then, my father had the nerve to go out and come back with rock and roll cookies and bananas and try to soothe over what he had just did to us for whatever his personal reasons were. He needed to apologize, and he was crying to my mother about how sorry he is for what he did to us. And we didn't want any rock and roll cookies and any bananas at 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning. That was ridiculous. I mean, like, we're tired and bruised and bleeding from webs that you just put on us with a extension cord, and you want us to eat. And so that gives you some of the descriptions that I went through as a child that brought me to the level of my mental instability when I was in the world. I just kind of want people to know, not so much about all the details, because they are my past, not my future, but to let you know some of the tragedies that led me where I was and where I am today, with getting to meet God as he is personally for me. I wound up homeless, as I said, and then HOC wound up putting me in housing. And when I got in housing, I really wanted independence. I didn't want to get well and have someone taking care of me and be independent again as usual, which was part of the problem, was that I never could find the independent sufficiencies that I needed to care for myself. And I was afraid of falling every time I would step out on that platform for stability. I would wind up at maybe Ames or Kmart or something where you just made enough money to buy groceries, but you didn't get any benefit, so you couldn't pay a mortgage with it. And I was one of those people who severely wanted to work. I wanted to make my own money and make my own decisions and do things without being reporting to someone. You know, I kind of am very empathetic toward women who struggle the way I did, because we are the untold stories out here. We're not witches and mentally deranged people, and our blackness as women is part of a bigger problem than even independence and mental instability, and also in our spiritual confidence in ourselves. It all is a big puzzle. It's a big piece of the puzzle. I kind of just want to say that when I did get to the point where I met God, I was on the verge of taking my life or asking him to help me find it. And I sat on the couch, and I had two couches in my living room. I sat on the couch right across from the other one. I was so sincere. I just want you to know I was so sincere. I asked God, and I said, Lord, I don't know how real you are, or people just making you up so that people can be good, because people haven't been good. They've been trying, but they've been failing at maintaining good relationships with each other. Well, God spoke to me and told me to take my eyes off of people and to get my eyes focused on a more personal intimacy in relationship with him. I didn't know how to do that. I didn't know him. I personally was like, okay, like, I'm already feeling emotional here. I'm crying. I'm asking you to help me save my life or help me take it. And you're telling me to be more intimate with you? How can I do that? How do I become intimate with you? Well, God did give me the tools. He gave me the information I needed. First of all, he said, let go. I said, let go what? He said, let go. I said, okay, come on, God, now. I'm letting go. I'm talking to you. Why are we playing these games, you know? And God said to me, well, let go. Let go. You are bitter, and you are angry, and you are hurt, and there's nothing that can penetrate that. I cannot even be in competition with what you got going on. But for you to connect to me, you will really have to let go of all those things that you personally have boxed around you. I could relate. I couldn't get away from that. I could relate. I really could relate. So I said to God, okay, you got me. You got me. I'm very upset with you. I'm very upset with my family. I'm very upset with my life. I'm very upset with people who want to medicate me instead of really hearing me and really trying to understand me. You're right. And so God said to me, when you let go, call me. And we can see what we can do to help you out. And said, okay, this is a start. I'm talking to God. Me, I'm talking to God. Like, I couldn't believe this. Like, I'm like, first of all, is this really you that I'm talking to? Or is this some internal voice that I have of my own that's negotiating these reasons with me? You know, the brain is pretty powerful at negotiating reasonings in the human mind. And so God winked back at me and said, hey, Rose, I know you better than you know yourself. And you can sit here and play these games with me, but if you want me, you know where I am. And you need to get real. And that's the bottom line. You need to get real. And you need to let go of all these people-pleasing mechanisms that you have that stands between you, honesty, and your ability to move in your life. And I said, whoa, I'm on the table with my diaper off here. You got me totally exposed. Okay, what kind of guy are you? I mean, why are you coming at me like that? And he walked away at that point. The visitation was gone at that moment. And I was left with the thoughts that he put in my head to dump some of this stuff I got on me before I start trying to connect to anything, even him. And so I'm going to stop here and let you kind of ponder over this for a while. But I want you all to know that God is real. And I have a personal relationship with him today that is unbreakable. It is unbreakable. I love God so much that every time I think about God in my life, today, at this moment, I didn't then, I always end these segments with the reality that my relationship is very foundational with God, and that what it took me to get here is what you're going to hear. But I love him. I love him so much. I'm married to him. I'm single in my human flesh, but I am married to God. He takes care of me, and he provides for me, and he's given me gifts to earn things that I need to take care of myself. So we'll talk about those things later on. Again, this is Rosetta Nesbitt talking about how I met God. Is my personal story. So I will see you next time, and you have an enjoyable 2012 New Year.